another match point.
Incredible third set here.
They changed their strategy a little bit and they fought their way back in.
There it is, game, set, and match. Hello and welcome to the 2024-25 APTA Tour. We're live from the Glenview Club in Chicago, Illinois, bringing you the Chicago Charities Grand Prix with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsors Volley and Corient. Tournament support has been provided by the following local sponsors: Wintrust, Illinois Bone and Joint, Viking, and CPTC. I'm Brad Easterbrook alongside Mike Raleigh, bringing you men's final round action here with our number 1 seeds of Regalado and his partner Jose Salazar, and the number 2 seeds of Adam Morgan and Graham McNerney. And before we get to the players on the court, Mike, we're going to talk briefly about the charity here that is in the Chicago Charities. You guys have one every year. And this year's charity is Pause for Patrick, P-A-W-S. And it is a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the mental health of young people through the emotional support of animals. And it's created in memory of Patrick Romer, a dedicated animal lover who died by suicide. And Pause for Patrick has touched thousands of lives nationwide since 2020. So always a great cause here associated with the charities. And we appreciate them doing that. So, Mike, welcome to the booth, and look forward to an amazing matchup here.
Brad, I'm happy and excited to be here. We're in for a great match. I mean, we saw, Graham McNerney and Adam Morgan, kind of their match was a little bit less of a challenge. It was over in about an hour and 20 minutes as opposed to the 2-hour, 45-minute match that Regalado and Salazar had. I still anticipate both teams being extremely fresh, and we're going to see some of their best paddle here in the next 6 hours.
And we are coming into this hot, so it looks like here Pat Lane's laid out the instructions, and it's going to be Jose Salazar coming in, serving here in this first game, and then we'll talk about the match as it goes along. But you bring up a great point about being fresh, because it is interesting having that different break time.
I had talked to Graham a little bit while the other semifinal was still going on, and I said, "What's your game plan?" And they said, "No, we really don't have a game plan." He said, "But trying to limit their transition," and he said, managing the transition, I think is how he put it, as well as he said defending the nick when Salazar and Regalado are up at the net. And for those at home that don't know what the nick is, it's that kind of corner where the two screens meet. And he said they do a great job of just kind of drilling for and hitting for that dead corner, which I thought was very interesting. But again, that's why Graham is one of the best players in the country.
What a dig there. And you're going to see that Regalado's, he just digs the ball so beautifully. He's kind of very calm back there. Yeah, it's interesting. They do, and they certainly will hit rollers at the nick, but they'll also just push the ball in there. They just make you beat them. And it's tough. And their turnaround was very short. Only an hour to get done with their tough semifinal match against Fraser and West, and to sort of take a shower, quick, get fresh, and then, get sort of the lactic acid out of your body a little bit, and then refresh here. The other guy's good, maybe 2 hours of wait time, but either way, I expect that these guys are in great shape and they'll be able to handle it. But it is a unique thing having to get that little turnaround from one place to another. A matchup, it's interesting. Graham McNerney never misses. His weakness is he's probably one of the best volleyers in the game. He's certainly in the top 5. He's, great at stopping the blitz. He's great at reading the drive coming from the other team and closing it off and volleying behind offensively. And there's the shot that he was talking about, defending the nick. All right, so that's going to be a part of it for them, which means it takes teamwork as well. But, the weakness in McNerney's name is driving the ball off the deck, right, and accelerating through. So you'll see people have that out where they'll push it to him, and I expect there'll be a lot of slow. He takes that one there early to make him work. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
earlier in the semifinal. Tom and Grigorovic and Tin, his partner, they tried for 2 points to go to that just dump
Right.
ball. And Graham's like, he was saying how, he's like, I asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, if they want to play that way, he goes, I'll absolutely grind this game down to nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is the problem, and you make a great point. It's an out for somebody to go to when they hit a good lob. They can just push it to him. But as a strategy of outweighting McNerney, he's used to it.
Yeah.
So he'll play this thing forever, and most guys, because of that, will use it as a safe out. But they won't use it as a strategy because it's painful, right? Although Regalado and Salazar, they definitely are not afraid to hit slow balls and say, go ahead and meet it. But I think McNerney's shot clock is almost better than most people's. But we'll see if it does go to this game. And you can see him just dumping over it right now. But they're probably going to start dumping over to Adam Morgan, who has a lot of offense. He tends to hit it hard. It's not a varied offense, would you say, but he can thump it really good. Like, he doesn't hit like a soft roller or anything else. He usually just brings the heat.
Yeah, real heavy kind of pace on it.
You're right.
And Adam is extremely good. Adam Morgan is extremely good at, when he is hitting his drives, of attacking spaces that an opponent isn't. If they're not proper with their shifts and there's a little bit of a gap between the two because they're not shifting, he does really well in exploiting that gap between the two volleyers.
You make an interesting point on that, too, because you're going to see Regalado and Salazar sort of stand up at the net. Like, with no real position, there always will be space. But they're so good at being long and just kind of sticking their paddle out and making it. It'll be interesting to see if that actually makes a difference, if he's able to spot it so well. So far, we haven't seen a ton of people be able to just blast it at him because they volley the ones that they can volley, and the others they just kind of let go through.
Yeah.
And they just transition it back, so they don't give you a lot of those mistakes. That was a great point there from Morgan McNerney, and sort of probably a prelude to what we're going to see throughout this. And I do expect them to try to attack the corners more here. And you see they're just kind of going to hang out. And there you see how Morgan did hit a perfect drive there, but they didn't bother to try to volley it, right? They just transitioned back.
And Salazar and Regalado they don't utilize the cutter, and I heard you guys talking about that in the semis. They don't utilize the cutter like a Graham McNerney will, where he's looking to finish points in the short portion of the court with a big spin. They're more into those rolling overheads, or the real just kind of subtle cut spin.
No, they'll attack with rollers at the body and rollers at the crease, or usually the other thing they do, if they're not doing that, they just push it like that. Just dump it down the middle, dump it again. Keep going. That's a great lob for McNerney. It's a good setup, but that's the go-to right there. A lot of guys would be setting up and ripping a forehand there. McNerney's going to stay patient. He likes the screen drive. He took it on the last one. He missed it, but he prefers it off the screen, and those are his best offensive shots. There's a little cut. Going to speed the point up. Great move from Adam Morgan. Now, I've seen it in the past. That's a great third panel smash, and that is super useful to use against Regalado. In the match before, I was calling with Guy Moore, we both thought he needed to hit it more flat into the side screen because Regalado gets up the wire so fast. When you hit the cutting one, it actually bounces up and gives you more time to get inside it.
Yeah.
You would block it or cut it off more. Smash it flat into that third panel and just get him out of that corner.
There's that nick we were talking about.
Yeah, but beautifully played there. Yeah, and they'll hit the rollers at the crease. They actually do have very good waterfalls as well. And there have been times, Morgan right now is lobbing perfectly. He's getting them to the service line and behind. And, but there have been times where we've seen some of those taller guys, like Sven Verst, really attack Morgan with the waterfall overhead and actually have some success with that. See if that plays in a little bit. Like that type of ball. And generally not very successful at all against Graham McNerney. A great cover on the nick again.
That was a great waterfall there. Graham said, I'll show you.
That was perfect.
Show you mine.
Yeah, in true fashion of a good waterfall, it's just up and just falls right down on the screen. Uniquely, actually, both these teams have the same format. You know, they really aren't. In the last match, there was one team that was attacking a lot more to begin with, and another team that was just defending more. They both start with a sort of defensive mindset. Keep the ball in, make the other team beat you, be in position, just block it back. And then when you have an opportunity, you might take an attack here and there. That's a great ball to use, get Morgan moving. Now here's where McNerney is exceptionally good, and that is in the hand-to-hand exchange, in the blitz moves, and in shutting down blitz move, and that's two exceptionally good overheads for McNerney, brings him to a break point. Now, so much of paddle is partnerships. Before this tournament, has Graham McNerney played with Adam Morgan?
They played in one Medina, just 2 weeks ago.
And it seems like the pieces fit really well together.
Well, I was saying, Patty Hogan earlier, that Graham, has the ability to play. I mean, there's not many people that play more tournaments
with more different partners.
With different partners, yeah. And he is such a kind of a Swiss Army knife of a player that he can fit his style of play and change it to fit his partner.
Well, his style of play is great. He volleys amazingly. He's got a good serve. He doesn't miss, right? So he's got everything you need. That's tough. Good first game there for Regalado. Salazar. Oh, no, it's deuce now. Sorry.
Yeah, fighting off another break point.
Yeah. Scoreboard there. That's great. Another beautiful blitz there. And he's a great blitzer, great screen driver. So he is a total Swiss Army knife. The only thing that can happen, he doesn't bring a ton of backcourt offense, so you might have to play a few grinds. If you're willing to do that, it works perfectly. And that Morgan's got great offense, so it's a nice combination.
Great move. Just missed it wide.
So close. And they are vulnerable to using that some of the time because they'll hit a lot of push overheads, Regalado and Salazar. So that means there's going to be time if the good lob comes up where he can just sort of sneak in. And I think more people should be adding that to their repertoire against them, the blitz play.
Boy, you see Graham just going to work on that overhead.
Yeah, and
cutter after cutter.
Salazar doing a great job. He's putting himself between the McNerney in the corner. He's playing each one of those cutters well. Oh, it's the right idea from Regalado. Just misses his spot. And a great first game there for Morgan McNerney.
Brad, do you have any pre-match predictions here? You got to pick them?
It's a heavyweight fight. At this stage, I'm going to stay with Regalado and Salazar until they get beat. Mm-hmm. It hasn't happened yet this year. and they came into the finals last year. So, and you got a new partnership, but as you mentioned before, it's easy to play with Graham McNerney. He's played with so many different partners, and games translate to anyone, right? And that was a good first plan that I saw that they had, but until somebody knocks Regalado and Salazar out, I'm going to have to run with them.
Okay, all right.
That was a great start for those guys, and I love the fact that they used some blitzes.
Yeah, the threat of, Graham's blitz, I think, just adds another element that the net team has to respect, and really always be on the lookout for. If traditionally, if you're just worried about, all right, where are my spots that I can't hit the overhead to eliminate, some of the drives that may come at us, that blitz is almost like a whole nother thing that they have to worry about.
No, you're absolutely right. And that means that the team that's playing against him at all times has to be ready. Like the guy who's hitting that high, deep overhead, he's going to be looking at the ball. So the partner's got to keep his eyes forward and get ready to call out when, McNerney's making the move. And he's primarily going to do most of the blitzing for this team.
It's a great overhead there.
Yeah, he's doing great work with his overhead. And I imagine they're going to be even switching at the net, and McNerney will
Absolutely
do all the overheads. Did they do that in their semifinal
Yeah, absolutely.
match?
Semifinal and the quarterfinal match.
Because, Morgan has a pretty good roller, and he can push the ball deep, but McNerney has a complete variety of balls, and it's a smarter way for them to do this. And the ultimate key is for them to get Morgan to play as many lobs as they can, although he's got a good roller and can hit at the crease. He faked a little waterfall there and just pushed it deep.
I love the cat and mouse that, the games within the game that Graham plays, kind of threatening the drop shot or threatening that, that waterfall overhead.
And that's a beautiful third panel smash that does exactly what it's supposed to do, waterfalling along the back. Just a perfect play. They're just playing really nice, settled paddle here. It's like they've been playing together forever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Credit to Adam Morgan too. For as well as Graham's able to play with other people, Adam's style, I think, makes it easy for his opponents or partners to play together.
Great touch, although he apologized for it.
Do you think he meant to hit that dropper?
He apologized, which means to me he did not,
Yeah.
because it looked intentional, it looked perfect.
Well,
because he was stepping away from it, but it was a gorgeous shot one way or the other, so 30 love.
I'd claim it. I'd be like, yeah, I meant to hit that.
He gave himself away with the apology, though. But so far, these guys have just played a perfect match, error-free. All right, little miscommunication there from Regalado and Salazar. Brings him back, and McNerney really doing damage with his overheads.
Points are so long, they're having a hard time following the score.
Oh, that's a great leave. And right now, Regalado Salazar, they're not really falling into that same pattern of they never miss. They never give you anything. Giving up a few things right now in the early going. Adam Morgan, you see him, he's pressing up to the baseline. He's on the hunt. He's doing a good job. Like when he gets a ball, just putting a little offense in there, making him work.
Speaking of offense, you said that he couldn't hit it off the deck. Are you
I didn't
kidding
say
me?
he couldn't. It's not
He thumped
generally
that
his
one.
string. He
Yeah.
crushed that one, and if he adds that to his repertoire, there'll literally be no place for anybody to go against him. But he did crush that one.
I mean, that was torched.
There he goes.
See that type of overhead? That's the one they've got to watch out for because that's almost begging. You know, that ball where they put a lot of air underneath that overhead without any big spins, kind of begging for Graham to do his thing.
Well, what's great is Graham is, McNerney is so good in transition. And when Morgan puts that ball through, he has no hesitation coming up and in. And right now, Regalado moves up the wire like that, and he gets a ton of those hits, but he's doing a really good job keeping off. He got burned that time, but, a little fortune there for Regalado.
Brad, we start to see the rain falling a little bit here now. Chicago Charities finals. They're asking to have the heaters turned on.
Yeah, they're going to need him, and I think it's a pretty good front coming through. I think the complexion of this match is going to change dramatically, and you got teams that are a little bit sort of defensive-minded. It may get that kind of rain where, it's going to be a lot of steam on the court, the ball picking up the water, and, people practice less and less and less in the rain. And first, unforced error there from McNerney, and we'll see who's better rain players. It does change. The ball can pick up water. The ball can start to skid.
Well, as you know, playing being a good mudder, being a good wet player, and just playing when it's in the rain, it really is a heck of a neutralizer, and it negates the opportunity to just be back in the backcourt and just grind.
Yes, because you can put a ball away even without a cutter.
Right.
Right.
But you look at, say, Adam Morgan's, he hits the ball relatively flat. If you look at Regalado and Salazar, they tend to spin the ball more. Well, the wetter the court, the wetter the ball, the tougher it is to hit that ball with, heavy topspin.
Right.
And, another thing is Graham is so good with his offense off of the screens that if the weather does get bad, I would say, the advantage goes to Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan and McNerney. Yeah, you might be right. A flatter ball in this case and having a good screen drive are extremely useful in the weather. The ball rolling, and you got Morgan turned around on that one, maybe hit the seam and shot out a little further. He definitely turned him. And you might be right. I think Regalado, if it's a relatively flat ball, he might be able to drive it through. I'm not sure. We're going to have to see. It's going to be interesting as this match does change. So we do think a front is coming through here. And one of the things that McNerney does so well, too, is he's actually able to control the point with lobs better than most because he is so economical with his motion. His block game is almost perfect. He's just out there with his paddle, and he sort of punches it low at you one time, and with the exact same setup and everything else, he punches it quickly up, and he moves people around. It's another reason why, yeah, you can dump to him, but then he starts pushing you around with his lob a little. And so a lot of players are getting off to it. It's just your safer place to go, but he's even hitting the forehand now. So he brings that in there. It's going to be tough. I mean, he's always been right at the top of the game. yeah,
I mean-
teed him up there.
Is it 3 forehands in this game alone that
I love it. And he's hitting them high and down and at the guys, but with pace. So it's a great play. Regalado and Salazar, they just got to get their first game. Sort of, the complexion relaxes a little once you get your first one under your belt, right? Until you do, it's like, oh boy.
Well, they haven't played from behind. I think they did a little bit in the semis, right? In that first set of the semis, but
I mean, they were down one break, but
I mean, through the
immediately got it
quarters,
back,
they
yeah.
I think lost a total of 5 games or something crazy like that.
I think we're hearing the rain through our headsets now. You can see it's starting to come down now. Yeah, you can even see it on the screen. A few raindrops zipping in there. Here it comes, folks. And for Mike and I, we're nice and dry.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Fantastic for us. But and we're going to see it's still not to that point where the ball's picked up enough. But once it does, they're going to start testing out whether the thing is going to start to hydroplane. They got the heaters on early, which means the court is heated up a little bit. It'll start to dry off the initial water, but if a downpour comes, all bets are off.
Yeah, these heaters are not designed to evaporate water on contact, especially when it's actively snowing or raining.
All right, got a couple of mistakes that time. They get their first game under the belt. Regalado Salazar in this match. 2-1 now, Morgan McNerney.
You know, too, Brad, when we get, you think about the poor weather, that a break of serve is almost worth its weight in gold because it's so hard to break that here we have Morgan McNerney already up a break.
Yeah, that's a
that
great
if they
point.
can ride this, if they can hold here and ride this through as the weather starts to come.
Yeah, we're not at that point yet. It still looks like normal play at this point, but you're right. And the other aspect of it, we were talking about just playing in the rain, sometimes just serving in the rain for guys who hit a cut serve. Now, Morgan hits that heavy topspin roller serve. That might be not so easy to do in the heavy rain. And, then we've seen it, guys miss 2-3 serves a game, and that's like giving away, because when you have a good serve and you're used to hitting sometimes in the rain, all you got to do is toss it up and sort of hit like a chop flattish just to the side, and the ball just skids forward, right? But he hasn't done that in like 8,000 years, Morgan. He's been hitting the roller serve before everybody else, really, and stayed on with it all the time. So if you have to go to that, it might be interesting, right?
Yeah, just missed the first one long.
Yeah, I don't know if that's weather related or not, but we're all going to have to watch this stuff. I expect McNerney will have no problem serving in there, but if you're trying to grab the ball at all, McNerney using his height and doing such a good job, like sort of pinning Regalado, but in a way where he's not able to get much. He's going to go hard here, yep. Yeah, that's starting to already skid a little bit. Cut off there. And that net player in Adam Morgan's position there, bottom of our screen to our right, it's important whenever McNerney goes in there on Regalado that he's up and ready to cut off that volley because he gets up the wire so fast, Regalado, and he's looking to drive it down that line or through the middle a lot. It's so helpful if your partner can, take
right
that
there.
ball, right, instead of having McNerney reach for it. That's a great plan. And right now he's doing it beautifully. Oh my God, he just takes that forehand and he inverts it to the other side. It's like
the Matrix move there and just turns himself into a pretzel. Get a drive, not only get a paddle on it, but to hit a drive.
Beautiful waterfall again for McNerney. And he is one of the best waterfall players in the country. You got to be taller to be that way, and he is. Yeah, he overdid that one. Actually, the rain's already stopped. You can see it's starting to dry off the court a little bit. So whatever that little salvo was, nothing behind it yet. Nice volley there from Morgan.
Boy, here we've seen that they've fully settled in now. They're in it for the long haul, both teams.
Adam Morgan's got done very well, like learning to hit that screen drive quickly, so he doesn't let him like spin him around and spin him around again. He gets the ball low quickly, and then have to reset and volley one first. It's a big deal. That's a good waterfall. They're working it.
Wow.
I think that didn't bite, and it did skid into him, even with a little bit of the water we got on there. That ball should have bit a little and bounced up and out, and that ball just went rocketing into Morgan, and you can see as he's putting his foot over that space on the court there, whatever moisture came, and it seems to be going away, it's still having a little bit of effect, but that was a great shot. And that's what we're talking about, actually, with the, with the rain. It just makes the ball skid, and there you see a rare reach from McNerney. He's about the quietest volleyer there is. He's actually, to me, probably the textbook of what you would say a paddle volley looks like, right? Perfect paddle volley. You got anybody you think it would be better? Or
Boy, he definitely is. And, what makes it so good is how quiet. And we were talking another match about how his before and after shots, if we were to take a picture between the two volleys, there's very little difference.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we mean by quiet. He doesn't have any moving pieces. He just gets his paddle behind it, leaves it there, boom, and he never misses it, right? And that is the definition of what you're trying to do for the most part. And you're going to see the exact opposite. Not that they flail. They're relatively quiet with their hands because they just do it all with their hands, Regalado and Salazar. They don't move it when the contact comes, but they'll flip it to the left, flip it to the right. It's just different, right? Oh, that's a good ball there. And there you see him again. He's following up these great drives with incredible blitzes. And he just, because he's so economical with his volleys and he's such a long reach, you can see him hitting that and running forward as he's doing. He knows he's putting this play in. And he's dictating on the blitz right now and just destroying them with it. They're going to have to readjust and close in. So, tough. All right, why don't you tell us about one of our sponsors?
Absolutely. Curious about what volley can do for your club? Here's a great offer. Get 30 club friends together and you'll all get a free 30-day trial. It's a perfect way to see how Volley's AI-powered trainers and tools can help everyone improve and track their progress. To get started, just scan the QR code at the tournament tent or visit getvolley.com/myclub. Don't miss out. Bring Volley to your club and elevate your game together. So we've had 3 breaks of service in a row.
And a great job. And right now, though, the dominant factor has been McNerney's net play and ability to go forward. And the way that Regalado and Salazar play, they kind of hang back off the net and challenge you. But he's doing exactly what he needs, and he has the skill set to do it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, West and Frazier are, great players, but they didn't put in blitzes like this in their match, and maybe they should have added 1 or 2 because those guys hang off the net a little and challenge you to beat them. And right now, any ball he's getting, he's just hitting it and moving in and trusting that his hands are better than theirs. And so far they have been. They may have to adjust the way they play at the net and start closing it off a little bit more.
Kind of forcing their hand to step forward and close that ball so he doesn't have that space to drop the ball below net level, right?
Right. But he's taking it almost level, and he's beating them. You know what I mean? Like he's just out-volleying them. That plus, they're either going to have to do that or they're going to have to step back. And if they do decide to close it in, then they're going to have to, then they're going to open themselves up to those quick little bunt lobs that he does. So it's kind of a good situation for McNerney, but all right, too quick, a little volley error, and then right back to a fault. So love 30. Could have our fourth break in a row here. Couldn't get quite over that one.
It's a little tougher to control the ball with a little bit extra spin, a little more of a slide factor off the face of the paddle.
It's going to be a transition back. Even McNerney's not staying up there that time. Oh, great move. Surprised I didn't see him blitzing behind it. Great lob. I like the commitment, though, for McNerney. He's not playing halfway drives. He's hitting some dinks, but he gets a high one, and he's going to challenge their volleys with a hard one. Now, he's missed a few, and that's always been the thing that people want to do. They want him to hit that shot, but he's kind of committed to making it a better shot, to have a real threat of a ball that he's going to crush at you. Mm-hmm. You know, the knock was, we were saying before, that you give him no pace, and he doesn't apply it. He's applying it. He's missed a couple, but I love it. And there's some people who believe that in the rain, it's not like there's been a study done on it or not. It would be fascinating if there was. So any of you guys or engineers who own like a place where you can study how felt affects water and things like that, some people believe that when the fuzz gets off the ball in wet weather, it's better, because the fuzz is actually what it reacts to the ground and it skids more. And when it's off, it doesn't have that layer that can skid. I don't really know I experienced it one way or the other.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
And you can see I was just mentioning that also because the fuzz is pretty much off the ball at this point. You know, and you can see the court's mostly dry now, so it's not going to be a big effect. Great hands. That's Morgan right there to a tee, just so good. He's hitting in a low ball that he anticipates most people won't take a drive on, but Morgan's got that flat stroke and ball comes right in, he sticks it right back at him. It's a great ball. Look at him, he's standing in and waiting for it. Spotting his drives, as you said before. Great blitz.
Oh.
And there's no call. It's a great move. Just missed it. The eyes get too big on those some of the time. Sometimes just put it down at their feet. And to me, and I've said this many times, you know, that shot gets missed more than anything. It looks simple,
right,
and it gets missed more than anything else.
That, or anytime they're kind of at the average game, they'll hit the lob over the head and they go charging in, and
then they lob it right back over their head, right?
Or they get so excited they think they've won the point because they've gotten the net.
Right. Oh, that's such a good waterfall. See how he is over there in the corner? He just went down, but he's good. He's up. Some hazard pay here for Regalado this week. In the last match, he got tagged. That's going to be
Wow.
ungettable there. He misread that off-pace drive. Beautiful. All right, this is a little push shot there. 2 break points, and there's another blitz play. Regalado goes for a little more on the offensive volley, kind of hits it a little firmer. Still, I love it for him. They've been winning points with that blitz. Oh, I think he lied to him. He thought it was coming out a little more, but that's a great touch. Yeah. Regalado will hit an aggressive serve into the ad court, but into Deuce sort of kind of lays it in there. And they trust in their hands. It's going to be a good look because I expect Morgan's going to be able to hit a lot of returns down, and we're going to see a lot more of that blitzing play from McNerney.
I mean, you would agree that I think it's more difficult for a righty to be serving into the deuce corner.
No question.
Across the board,
No
right?
question.
Because they can't hit that heavy kicker that jams into the side screen. It just tends to come off the back screen and set up.
Yeah, you have to manage your pace and direction on that side a lot easier, a lot better. Right, and where's another bad move? And again, we haven't seen one call from Salazar and Regalado where they're like, blitz, blitz is coming.
Right.
They're just looking at each other instead of having the eyes forward. If you're not hitting the ball, you should have your eyes forward and sort of see what the backcourt team's doing. That way you can see if you need to cut it off, if they're coming in, and then say something.
It's a good lesson for everybody at home. The eyes should be on the opponents, not your partner.
Great eye there. He got burned with one before that he let go. It's the same type of shot from McNerney. This time he misses it. All right, good job staying back. And Morgan's just great in transition ball, and he knows it's coming in now. He'll work his way in. Has Adam Morgan missed a ball in that high volley? I don't think he has. But quietly, he's just doing his role.
Yep.
It's not like a factor yet because McNerney's doing all the overhead work and most of the blitz work, and that seems to be where the offense is coming from. But he's making them work. He's not allowing them to beat them in the corner. It's just a battle right now.
But keep in mind, too, being a non-factor is being a factor.
Of course.
Right?
What I mean by non-factor is it's not making errors, you're not missing any balls, but their design is also not for him to be taking all his plays and everything else. He's playing great.
Yeah.
And what I really meant is he's not missing a ball, but their design is different. Like he could have hit that ball, Morgan, but let's let McNerney go to work. And that way they're maximizing their strengths. And definitely Morgan, as a volleyer, is a really good spot volleyer, but you don't want him to have the full exchanges with everybody.
Right.
You say, volley this ball, he's aces, right? And you can let McNerney do the rest, right, on those pieces like that. That's another great blitz. Just constantly going to use this play. And what's Regalado Salazar is going to have to eventually deal with it. Right now, they're still in the match, no problem. But, oh, that's a heck of a
Wow,
get.
what a great get.
Yeah. Oh, tough one. And he played it perfectly, but some balls just don't get off that side wire. That's the shot there that set him up. Great replay there from our production crew, and a hold. And look at that. Started down 2-love. Now they're up 4-3. So Regalado Salazar made a couple of uncharacteristic errors in that first game, and now the errors had disappeared, and they flipped over a little to Morgan and McNerney.
Pat Layden up in the chair.
Yep. You can hear the rain starting to come again. Tournament Director Jason Love, sporting a nice rain jacket. Looking sharp.
Came prepared.
All right, he's
New
taking
ball.
one. Yep. Yeah, I love that lob. That down the line, push Morgan off the net, because his primary thing is to cut off those balls there, get him off, might create some space, and that's an awesome move, which we know he has, and that time he got burned. Great shot. Gotta move up the sidewire so quick with that.
Yeah, that's it. What, a step and a half, and then he's thumping that ball.
All right, McNerney's actually, he's bleeding a few errors here. He's gonna have to settle it down. Just a couple of drives.
It's always a highlight watching people try to flip the ball back into the court.
Take
Over
bets
under
on
is
it.
at least 1.44 tosses.
I can't say that I've made it every time
No.
either on the first toss. How'd that thing get so high? I think we're going to see McNerney sort of dial it into I'm not missing for the next game mode. Well, we'll see.
You know, and the better the team, the better the decision-making becomes as the points, you know, we get deeper into sets or deeper into the matches. It's amazing to see how they become more and more disciplined and, you know, dedicated to that, the process.
You see a couple of blitz attempts, and you can see how Regalado and Salazar are closing them off a little better now. Not getting caught. First couple of games, he was blasting it through them. He's going to start every time Morgan sets up for a drive. You're going to see him take 2 to 3 steps forward. Look at it, McNerney. He's going to be 2 to 3 feet inside the baseline, constantly on the lookout for any ball that Morgan can get underneath the net. And then he's going to take a few more steps forward. If he doesn't, he'll probably just drift back again. All right, I think he wanted him to let it go.
Heavy roller, draws it nearer on the lob from Morgan.
I actually appreciate that heavy scream from my opponent, my partner, not to hit it. I will definitely not hit this now. That's a beautiful
It takes
use
any of
touch.
the indecision out of it.
Right, yes. Oh, so great play by all players. Dig. All right, there's some exciting transition there, and all perfectly done. He's going right for that crease like that. That's a good overhead. Brings Regalado way out of the corner of some space to try to move him. Up to the task there. He missed that second spot to the overhead. He wanted to get into the first panel. Came out to the second. Regalado's all the way around it. So it popped out. So, all right. 3 games in a row there for Regalado. Salazar serving out the first set. McNerney's presence there scared him a little.
You know, it's, you know, for Graham, they want him driving when they're at the net, they want Graham to be driving off the deck, and I think it's the exact opposite when they play the ball into Morgan's corner. They want him, if anything, driving the ball off the screen.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, Morgan, look, he's thumping some drives. Great volley there. And the hand's so soft. Like,
Yeah.
They're able to take all that pace off the ball, which is the primary thing that, a lot of people squeeze on the volley. You got to learn to let it hit your paddle and dump it off. Most of the time when the guy's hitting a drive at it, you're getting attacked, right? And they just have such soft hands, these guys. They're able to deal with it. That's perfect blitz right there. And that's the combination they're looking for. And they put it in play about 3-4 times before they got the one that worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big game here. Just got to stay in this set. The break and see if you can get it back to even.
Oh, what a get off the turnbuckle there.
Come on.
Can't
That's
get 3.
perfect.
Wow.
Speed, though, right? Perfect placement and speed. He couldn't control that up. Just happy to get it. Look, he puts it behind McNerney. Well done. And here's where you see the changes in little pieces in the match. In the first couple, 2-3 games, we were talking about the expected strategy of you dump the ball on McNerney. And, of course, we talk about it, and he thumps like 4 or 5 drives. But then they're down 5-3 here because he started missing some balls.
Yeah.
Right? And we talked about Morgan non-factor. But he hasn't missed anything. Morgan's doing great, And once he missed a little, now you're going to see him dial that back. He's just going to be like, all right, I'm missing some balls. I'm not going to miss anything. You don't see him going for any thumping drives here. Morgan's still doing what he's doing. This is the first ball I've seen him miss. 30 all here. 2 points from the first set. So it's one of those things where, is it a regression to the mean, or do you have it, right? Like you're making the first few because you made them, or do you actually own it? And right now he's lost a little bit of confidence in it, even though he made the first couple because he missed the next few. So good at taking the pace off it. Nice ball from Morgan. Oh, now that one was tough. He was just running out from helping McNerney in the center, and he comes back.
Moving to his, rather than moving forward to drive, he's moving to his right to drive that ball.
All right, set point here for Regalado and Salazar. That's a good stick from Morgan. He does, as you mentioned in the beginning, he hits a heavy, heavy
Yes,
ball.
and you notice whether or not the blitz itself, 2 blitzes now from McNerney have gotten an error on the volley, and it's just kind of the noise that.
Right. It's Morgan's ball combined with the threat of the ball coming.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to take the pace off it if there's nobody there. You take the pace off and there's somebody there, they can take it and stick it right back at you. Because you're right. They probably don't miss those volleys without the extra presence. So it's the combination of play. First, it starts with the execution of a great drive from Morgan, and then threat of the great volleying from McNerney. And there, goes for the backhand flip off the screen. Beautifully spotted ball from Morgan. Yeah, good read. A lot of action on these balls. He's eating them up. Morgan's out of the way. Salazar's hanging in there. Some good gets. That's a good lob. Yeah. Screen drive from Morgan. Beautiful. That's trouble,
Good
trouble.
overhead.
Great over, and a good call from Regalado. They are spinning him. But as much as they do, the guys keep their paddles under control, and they keep moving. But just tons and tons of pressure. You could see Regalado and Salazar just trying to survive in that point.
Yeah.
And he went for an ill-advised shot on that last one. So great break point opportunity for Morgan McNerney.
Would you say that the roller, you can break a team down as well with the roller as you can with kind of the cutter that we see Graham hitting?
In terms of breaking the team down, I think it's a combination of the two. And the cutter, I think, breaks you down more. The roller's great for hitting at the crease, though, and into the back wire, and it moves you out of position more. See more points get one. It's just situational, too. But I think more get actually one with the cutter, you know, and the roller kind of sets things up. You can occasionally get them out of position. I don't know. What's your thought on that?
I would say that, the roller tends to shake the point up more, where the cutter can finish more points.
Right. I got you. And one of the keys to having a good roller, too, is starting to develop. We're seeing, like, various paces and spins. Right in that moment of contact, do you drop the wrist underneath the ball and roll it more? Do you pooch it forward a little bit so you can keep a guy a little more off balance? Everything they do out here is really an effort to do that, get your opponents off balance. Players at this level hold the ball. Nice move from Morgan. And he's improved so much in the screens. He's still extremely active screen player. Some guys are smooth and around it. But, he used to get, like, sometimes turned around. So solid. Yeah, have you even seen McNerney set up for one of those balls right now where he's going to hit that little dumper? See, and this is where it works, and that's why the strategy that people do it. Now, he'll do this all day. In the beginning, he was going for it, and he's dialing in because he knows it's too important, and it's not his #1 bread and butter ball. He wants to win with the blitz. He wants to win with a screen drive. Awesome attacking overheads. All right, great positioning and an awesome break of serve from Morgan McNerney. Step one of the comeback complete. Got us to serve it out here. Get back to even. Let's check here with do a quick check on my AccuWeather app. See what the radar says. Not too bad, actually.
It looks like a lot of it's through.
What happened is it looked like a big, huge band. You can see it right there, and it sort of
sometimes when it hits the lake,
dissipates
a little. The bank, it blows it up.
Right, it sort of dissipates and sort of disappears. I think we're clear. For what looked like a big, huge band, I think we're clear.
It's good news for the fans as well.
Yeah. All right. So it doesn't look like rain play is going to come in, but everybody knows better how to play in the rain.
Yeah.
Thanks for your wisdom, Mike. Good move. You got to be so careful with that against Regalado. You think, you know, he's just standing there and he's got his paddle always kind of down by his hip. You know, it's not even like in a typical type of ready position. It's just hanging there.
Yeah.
Then the ball goes in the air, and then all of a sudden, the moment you're trying to hit it, he goes phoom, right off to the side, and his paddle's up and is ready. Transition going to the crease there. Oh,
Are you kidding me?
insane hands. If you saw the shot in the last match too, though, where Tyler Frater was at the net.
I saw the replay.
Yes.
And
he ducked and put his paddle in the place where he thought the ball was going, and that was insane blitzing. And then 2 seconds later, right here, he stands in when they think he's not. Like, and watch this. Oh, too bad. We're on to the next point. That was a great volley exchange.
And again, as we talked about how the volleyers, I mean, quiet the hands are, you know, they're not making that volley with any extracurricular movement of the paddle head.
It's a good way to describe it. I like that. You know, next time I miss, I'm definitely going to be like, I had some extracurricular movement in my paddle head. And I'm going to have to correct that extracurricular movement in my paddle head. So, you know. But you're absolutely right. And what also makes these guys so good is they actually understand where to place their paddle to begin with. So it's in the spot that the ball's really likely to go. You know, if the ball gets higher, then you know it's going out. If the ball gets like over there, then you know it's going to your partner. So you put it in that spot that you're supposed to put it in, and that takes half of it out of play right away. What a spotted drive there. American's going to hit that. Yeah, and you can see. Look at. Beautiful. You're right. He's placing those drives on a dime. And Morgan will do that a lot too. He'll hit a volley from slightly deep in the court, and he'll just go back. He's more comfortable with the drive that you hit at him off the deck than actually coming back in and making the volley. It's great awareness of what his strengths are, and there you see the volley display. McNerney making a huge difference again. Look at that. Reads that off pace drives and stuffs it behind Regalado. All right.
Point for 5 all, right?
Yep. They're doing this just right. You know, both teams are staying within what they want to do. Outside of a lapse of like, McNerney was dominating for a game or two, with his volley skills and actually even some balls off the deck. That sort of dried up. He recognized he started missing. He dialed it back in again. Now we're just sort of battling. Staying to their strengths. It's a great third panel smash. And what do you think, McNerney? Is 6'4"?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 6'4".
Every bit of it.
Yeah, and you're 6'1", you cannot make that third panel smash from back there, but he can, right? Because he's tall enough, he's got the angle, just gives him that bit of extra range.
It's great to watch when Adam is in that volley or drive stop kind of position in front of Regalado, how he's, lining up almost directly in front of where that drive's coming from, ready to volley with his backhand and really using position to strengthen his ability to volley that ball.
Yeah, it's a great point. And it's a good lesson for anyone out there. At some point, you get to this point, the finals of Charities, or any Grand Prix probably for that matter, and you have something that's special and unique to you. You have skill sets that are way above average, right, compared to the average person. And when you watch Regalado and Salazar doing what they're doing, they're sort of laying there, putting a forehand volley, this and that. It's a little bit of like, don't try this at home.
Right.
You have to have a certain skill set. And what good players do is they start to understand what that is, and they change the rules a little more, and they put it into what works for them. It's still the same base, but it's completely, unique to them to a degree, And you'll see that from a lot of these guys. And then you watch other guys, too, who play, like, say a Drew Broderick, who never does anything but a backhand volley, right?
Yeah.
And he's, like, rock solid. And pretty much, McNerney will do a forehand volley, but he's pretty much 90%, backhand volley, unless he's seeing it and then he's using the forehand like in an offensive nature of attack, all right? But, everyone sort of, when you get to this level, you can figure out what to play. And these guys do things like bait an opponent to drive, right? Give them a shot where they want to. Sometimes they'll close it in. Sometimes they just want to speed it up. So they're breaking rules at various times, but they're all still trying to stay within a certain framework.
When it gets down to, yes, their skills are so elevated from the average player, but their fundamentals are, fundamentally speaking, that's the base, and then they take it from there.
Sure.
And when you get the club player trying to say, well, I watched in Regalado and Salazar hit a lot of forehand volleys. My answer to that is, well, that's Regalado, Salazar. Let's work on our fundamentals first, and then when you master your fundamentals, then we can expand.
Yeah, that's my point on this, actually. So fundamentally what you're trying to do is not miss volleys, right, or not do this or not do that, and this is the best way you're going to go about it first. And then if you feel like, you got a certain skill set that allows you, I don't know anybody, there's a lot of great volleyers out there, and everyone here is a great volleyer. Key is to work your strengths to the best that they're going to be. Oh, that's a good ball in the crease. Morgan moving a little. Setting that paddle down. Nice digs from Morgan. Just trying to work that ball to waterfall into the crease. It's going to get driven. That's his favorite shot. That in the backhand. Oh, he gets him to reach. You don't see that very often. And he was committed to volleying that ball. I can't even tell. Did it look like it even might go wide to you? I don't know.
I don't think it was going wide.
No.
And the bad news was Adam was right there to cover it, too.
Yeah, so here it is. Set point now here for Regalado and Salazar. A big moment. That's a great soft return with the blitz, and that does it for the first set. That goes to Regalado Salazar, and we will be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by CSM Media.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
All right, and welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're here in the Chicago Charities in Chicago, Illinois, where our number one seeds of Regalado and Salazar took the first set 6-4 against our number two seeds of Morgan and McNerney, and it was a pretty good set.
Fairly clean. And, I have to say it went almost as we predicted. A lot of transitions, a lot of blitzes, and kind of real rock-solid play from both sides. And I think at the bottom line, it came down to, a few key errors. I mean, it's such paddle, right?
Yeah, it is. You know, they got up to a little loose start, Regalado, Salazar, and they jumped out early, and McNerney was hitting a couple of great shots, so they got up to a kind of an early lead, but then it slipped away, and the errors crept in a bit. You know, a few loose forehands, a couple of like where he was trying for a little much on what he wanted, and then he had to dial it back. They started working their way back in, but just couldn't quite get it, and it was just like that little spot at the end where he reaches for that one volley that, you know, Morgan could cover. And, you know, we talk about this all the time, Mike. It's just those moments, right? You're going to throw in a fault here, you're going to make that miss here, and that's what it comes down to. So it's a great set. And it looks like the weather's going to pass, which is great. It's a perfect actual day to play paddle. Any paddle player will tell you they'd rather have it cloudy, you know, a little cool like this, and still pretty warm.
Bit of a breeze. It's coming from the camera right now from our viewpoint from the right-hand corner outside there towards us.
So a great atmosphere always at the Glenview Club. And here we go again. Jose Salazar start the second set. Adam Morgan returning. And hitting the overhead right now, Graham McNerney. And in the bottom left of your screen, that's going to be Alvi Regalado. And that's a heck of a backhand there from Salazar. And once again, I'm Brad Easterbrook alongside Mike Raleigh. Men's final round action. Yeah. See, now they're getting that safety spot that we talked about where they're going to dump it in there. And I'm wondering, do you think he's going to break out that huge drive that he hit in the beginning of the set, or do you think he's put that away for a bit?
I think he's got to make them respect that forehand.
So he should hit it anyway once in a while.
Yeah, I really do think that, you know, the ball's dried off now and the court's fairly dry.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any rain, as we saw in the forecast there. It just sort of, it looked like it was all around us, and it sort of just didn't get here, or dissipated as it got near us. You said that's a common thing around?
Yeah, a lot of times it'll blow up and hit the, you know, it hits the lake, and then all of a sudden it dissipates. And
huh. You know, so you take all these, you know, great teams and great athletes, and there's always some different style considerations, you know, and these guys, they just flat out make you beat them, Regalado, Salazar.
Yeah.
Right? And they do amazing gets and amazing screens, and they have offense, they have all that stuff, but it's not that kind of match where you've seen, like, sometimes against Durant, you're like, we cannot let him take the net the whole time, right? He's just going to carve us to bits with overheads. Two things are happening. One, players are just getting better at defending them, period, across the board in the game. And, you know, and but you don't feel that way, like I have to be at the net or I have to be at the backcourt. It's just that the constant pressure is they have a moment or two where they miss it, but they're back on script a little quicker than everybody else.
And they're snapback.
And, you know, they're a little quicker than everybody else, and it sometimes could even be 3-4 balls in a row. They'll even give away a game here or there, but they get back to it faster, and then the overall sort of percentage of how many times you're going to beat us versus how many times you're going to miss trying to beat us, right? You know, it just works in their favor, and they keep it going, you know, throughout. You know, and it's sort of a lot more reminiscent of like sort of that old school. I mean, you know, you're out here in Chicago and legendary Scott Mansiger, you know, and Flip Goodspeed. They had the moments, but mostly they just didn't give you anything. You know,
right.
And then Flip all of a sudden is blitzing in you, and you know he's hitting a spot drive Mansiger, but mostly they're just not giving you anything.
You know, you brought up a good point, and I think the old school, new school type of paddle. New school, it's just basically taking the fundamentals that the old school, you know, had, but now they're kind of layering on, you know, more
things
athleticism.
like a cut overhead, the ability
Yes.
to finish a point from a certain position on the court, and, right, and the ability to transition back more, never hit that kind of volley you're going to miss, you know, and that's a quick game there for Regalado Salazar. Do you feel like it's like a moment now here for McNerney and Morgan? They got to they can't let this get away from them?
Yeah, you know, I'd say they go down if they go down early, it's a tough, to play uphill. It's a tougher hill to climb. So I think they have to buckle down.
And the difference between, say, this match and, the one before here, we were actually still close to about an hour on that first set, actually, or a little less. But, the intensity of the points in the semifinals, and the set went to 7-6, it's just moving a little faster now. And there was a moment where it was in the right kind of space. They got to be careful here. And Morgan, if you can lob Morgan well down the line and get him back, he almost always hits that sort of sky hook to the cross court. You can play that as a pattern and look for the up-down ball there. I think Salazar might be looking, but they're just going to keep it steady. Did he say a good controlled switch? I think he was looking to see if it was in or not. It was right on the outside of the line.
Little Nick.
Yeah, great ball.
Winning overhead. Right on the line.
30-15. Yeah.
Well, I like that overhead there. That
was great.
That cutter at the left hip of a two-side player, really. And the ball's moving away from him off the back screen.
Ooh,
Well, we had
good hold there.
two missed returns and a missed drive off the screen.
Made it a little easier. Like I said, would take those. They will throw in a game every now and then, but their snapback, like you were saying, that's a good term, is usually better. Yeah, they don't go off the rails, for bits and pieces, right?
But it tends to be a lot shorter and compressed, right? Where, a lesser team, their walkabouts are, much longer period, more points.
It was essentially the middle of that set where they just kind of lost it there, Morgan and McNerney. But then they got it back a little towards the end, but they went from up to immediately down. And I can't say that it was like Regalado and Salazar just being amazing. It's just the other guys threw more, more mistakes in. That's so big. Look at McNerney. He's just hovering. These volleys are perfect. Oh, Morgan. Dealing. And you could see how McNerney was lurking, Mike.
He was sticking his nose in there, wasn't he?
Yeah, but they did every volley perfectly away from him, solid and deep. Morgan had to hit a let cord to get it by him, and they still transitioned back for it. I think I would have said nice shot. Oh, that's big. All right, couple loose shots. They're going a little batch here. Oh, just read that. He saw his paddle going over there. He's like, whoops. Right. I was feeling it.
He was feeling it.
I was feeling it, Graham. I was feeling it, man. Yeah. He's just teeing off. Love that. Compact stroke. He's so consistent with it. It's like very little extracurricular activity.
There you go.
It's just right there.
Thought on that short lob that Graham was going to rotate that ball.
And Morgan is dialing it up. Great position volley there. Perfect. Beautiful transition back from Morgan. That's a great look and a good call from Regalado. What was the call? I
don't speak Spanish, but I think
either way,
let's watch it.
Salazar knew what he meant, and he was absolutely right. The ball's out.
And two different calls.
As long as you understand each other. You don't even see McNerney actually switching his grip to a type of semi-western type of thing here. He's just staying continental. He'll hit the continental push drive right now, but he's putting the other in his pocket. So we can have these points now that are going to last. Now Morgan, he's just like a coiled spring, you know, ready for any ball that comes in there. He's ready to drive almost every ball. It's a good choice there, and just look at him ready. Standing on the baseline, looking. There it is. There it is. Perfect spots.
You know, I think one of the things I'd love to do if I had an extra couple hours in every day is to sit down and look at the percentage of drives that are hit, the number of drives are hit, and what the percentage of drives are actually point enders.
Yeah.
You know, you look at it, because I think one of the things that the average player, they put the pressure on their drive thinking it should be a point ender.
Winner, right? Yeah.
And here at the highest level, you know, it might be 3% of the total drives are point enders.
Sure.
Right? I don't know what that number is, but it's got to be less than 5%.
It's not. Yeah. It's a really good question. So you just need 2 hours in a day.
Well, you know, yeah, it's a lot of high-level math. It's probably 2 hours to do the check marks, and then another 2 hours to do the high-level math there.
No, but it's a great point, and it again goes to like your sort of your mentality of playing platform tennis. And there was a point ender right there, good drive, but it's after another 10 other drives, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you said, that was maybe 10% of that point. But the point is, he didn't hit that to be a winner either. It's just a combination of multiple balls, and that was a little bit off pace. Yeah, you're trying to force a guy to reach for a ball and miss the volley. You're not trying to win with the drive, you know. And on the flip side of that, too, you know, you would want to carry that study to what it is at this level and what it is at this PTI level. And you would find out that at a certain higher PTI level, right, the drive percentage is going to go way up. And and you'd have to look at it two ways, right? You'd have to look at a point enter being you missed the drive. Right. So you ended the point by missing it. So in that regard alone, it probably is over 5%, you know, but I get your point entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it would help, too, in that higher PTIs where they're looking at it and saying, well, if their expectation is not to win the point off the drive, then they're less likely to go for more.
Right.
They're a little more likely to dial it back, to make more of those drives. And I think, too, sometimes the feeling is, well, if I'm not hitting a winner or that the drive isn't winning the point, that somehow
it's a fail.
You failed.
Right. It's a fail. It's not a fail, of course. You're right. And there he goes. Takes two in a row.
Boy,
it's
two leg courts.
Just get over there. Off-pace roller with a semi-western grip, and that delivers a break point here for McNerney.
Turning off those heaters, you can hear the roar.
Yeah, it just got really quiet out there. I kind of like the white noise in the background. Probably not good for them, though, and because it does, you know, at this point, it's not carrying any water off the corners. There's no point in having it on, and it does actually heat up the surface a bit, so. Now, your club, you have one of the few, like, kind of self-heated hard courts, right?
It
Which
is
means
a,
it just melts all the snow off it in a snow day. But it doesn't actually, it's worse in the rain, though, because it doesn't actually evaporate the water, right?
Where on a traditional aluminum decked court here, you can play while there's active precipitation. But there, it's you know, it has the radiant heating and a poured concrete surface. And while it's actively snowing or raining, you can't play on it. But it is amazing in a heavy snow event. I mean, it's melting the snow on contact, but then once the precipitation stops, it'll evaporate. But
right. Whereas it's not quite the same level of heat in that radiant heating. This gets a hotter temperature where it'll burn it off a little quicker. Or
yeah, but it is amazing. You could set it where if it senses moisture, it can get the heat up into 80, 85 degrees.
Right. Yeah, there's so many great things about McNerney's game and Morgan's too, where you can just take these great lessons. That's a beautiful drive setup.
Right into the neck.
Yep, perfect play. And easily covered. Oh, look at this. Those hands.
Great exchange. And now they go right back to work.
Yeah, you see, every time it goes into McNerney's screen, he just sets his paddle down, lets the ball come down to his paddle, lifts it back up. Very textbook, and they way to outlast him in that one. They sort of turned the Salazar Regalado strategy against him, and it happens both ways. Good break there, Morgan McNerney. A great game. And Morgan, in terms of his technique, he just has that paddle set flat right behind the ball. He's hitting a flat ball, so he's not rolling it, but he just threw it. It's the most pure contact you can have, and he's ready to hit almost any ball. Good spot.
Boy.
Nice volley there from Morgan.
And I love how when Adam Morgan's calling yours, he really is making sure to clear and giving Graham the entirety of the court to hit into on that ad side. See him, he's all the way into that alley.
That's a good cover there. Good combination. He's going to rip it. It's going to be hard for them to hold the net, but yeah, take it. Yes, every hard one into that side. He's looking for a certain ball, and McNerney's doing a good job keeping around it. They're doing such a good job calling it off. It's like a nice cat and mouse game here. And you can see Regalado slide up the side wire again, and then he gets it around him. He lets Salazar take it. Oh, that's a beautiful backhand with a perfect pace. Well spotted there by Salazar. See that replay, Cal.
Hey, there it is.
Cal, you got that shot?
You just,
That was you?
Cal's got that shot.
Cal's got that shot.
Both the replay and the shot.
Oh, so good. Now, here's a
is
bad
so
move.
good, yes.
That's a bad move from McNerney. He's moving back and away and hitting a hard one right into the Regalado forward. He should just be hitting a little push there, straight, and then allowing himself to get back in position.
Or that slight cut into
speeds it up.
Salazar's backhand, rather than trying to force a ball into
Right.
that screen where
Yeah.
he's moving.
And because the worst drive, too, is that one that he can hit cross-court. If Salazar hits the drive, he can always go back and get it because it's straight, right?
Yeah.
All right, 15:30. They need a break back, Salazar and Regalado. It's a good start on their way here. Green drive. Good cut off. Look, he's just so long, right? Oh, good spots. Last one he took into the alley on the other side. This one he goes right at Morgan, but it's surprising.
Careful. But there's such a fine line here that they're working. Both teams, are running, walking a tightrope as far as their errors. That it's almost like you feel like they can't
Yeah.
afford to make some silly errors.
Morgan, he's like a laser beam there. He's so consistent because his take back, there's really just behind the ball and straight through it. It's just gorgeous.
And I like how they haven't switched back in the backcourt, just given Regalado and Salazar a different look.
Yeah, he's going to have to lob a little better, though. That's a little better.
Maybe they get
Yeah.
McNerney a little breather.
Oh.
He wants that one back. I think that's the right ball, right?
Yeah, I think he moved late to it, and he got it out of his wingspan. I like McNerney taking those things when he's moving forward because
Right.
that's when he's blitzing, and he's actually at his best, not on that shot, but on the forward move after. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like
right.
you actually get it back, and then he sticks it at you behind. I think if he makes that, yeah, that's all well and good. But clearly he's on a, too far of a stretch, and they're easily just going to transition back and hit it. So You know, a high forehand, sure, he can take it, but that one was a little out
So
of his
rather
zone.
than that, he had that lateral move, he needed more of a diagonal move
into it. And he's awesome coming behind the ball. You know, just his hands
Great
like that
pressure
right there. You know, he's a legit threat and one of the best blitzers and hand-to-hand volley combat guys, you know, in the game. I wonder how he'd be in a knife fight.
I got you.
See, the difference here, it's not that Salazar can't play over there. He totally can. Oh, look at this.
Are you kidding me?
That's insane. And he made the impossible one and missed the easier one, right? That's such a move there. And the fact that he sticks his paddle on and gets back, incredible.
Making the half-court shot and missing the layup there.
Let it go. Yeah, because this is transition drive anyway. Yep. They can't come in here. What I was going to say before, though, is Salazar, and that move, the moves up and in that Regalado are making are incredibly quick. And again, he got burned. He thinks he's bouncing it over his head, but he's already moving up and in. While he's getting set up to hit, he's looking up. And then he's already in on you before you hit it. So his moves up the wire or up and in, you know, Regalado are just really, really effective because he moves at a time when you're looking up at the ball and he's so quick to the spot.
I think that not the wrong ball, wrong miss there. We've seen two drives from Adam Morgan that he's missed into the
net. Yeah, that's an unfortunate turn there. They were playing some good points, but you got to execute. So what about another one of our great sponsors there, Mike?
Oh man, Corian is excited to partner with the APTA because whether as advisors to our members or as members themselves, they are already part of the APTA community. Learn more at www.corient.com, the official wealth sponsor of the APTA.
All right, so Regalado Salazar, like in the first set, down a break, come back up and have retaken it, and they're back on serve at 3-all. Are you a believer in it doesn't really matter where you stand in the set as long as you're on serve? Because I always find I prefer, it's like one of these sort of a double-edged sword. You get behind when you're playing uphill and you're behind further, right? But these guys are playing uphill every single time over in McNerney, whereas, you know, when they lose a serve, they're down 2 games, right? You know, as opposed to it being 1 game apart.
Right.
I always found, for some reason, mentally for me, I preferred it the other way around, right?
To where you're always holding with the lead.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Completely agree.
You know, especially when you're a little behind, it just feels like you're playing uphill.
Yes.
Right? You're always pushing
There's
the
always
rock
that
over.
added pressure of, okay, now we truly need to hold.
So upcoming and next week's, and after this, we'll expect another incredible interview from the Ellie's entertaining Jason Love with our winners. And then after that, you know, we head off. The APTA Tour goes to the Cleveland Masters. All right, so stay tuned. You basically, I think there's 19 events being streamed, right?
Yeah, 19. That's pretty solid.
There's a little crowd involvement. And so you got paddle basically almost every weekend. Maybe a little break for the holiday.
But even over that, we have the, here in Chicago, they do the, what do they call it? The Cabin Fever. Thank you. It's a one-day quick little strike tournament.
What do you mean by a strike tournament?
They're in and out in like an afternoon. It's
Gotcha.
They play that shortened
Okay.
shortened format. I think no ad scoring. Super breaker for the third. One-day deal.
Yeah, those are a blast. And a good job. I know Michael Franco runs a bunch of those up here, right? Those type events, like turbo events.
Yeah, his is even more. This is I just meant like they changed the format to shorten it just a little bit. Michael Franco does a great job in running like a 3-hour event where it's turbocharged.
Turbocharged tournament. Good for the busy lifestyle. Oh, that's just a beautiful waterfall. He did one early in the first set. Gets another one there. It's just a great job. It's just falling
Yeah,
so
the ball's
hard.
just falling. He goes from the hard third panel on the side screen and hits that third panel on the back screen and just drops.
All right, the tour is also going to Milton Point and Rye next weekend as well for a men's tour event. So streaming from both Cleveland and Milton. If you want to get really wild, you can go back and forth between the two, or you can stick with your favorite hometown folks in either of those places, Rye or Cleveland. So both of those, thank you, Karen, for adding that in. Oh, Kenny.
Oh.
What a dig.
What a save. Are you kidding me?
Again, just
It shouldn't be legal. It shouldn't.
So
You know, you
much-
get one
yeah.
swing at one swing at the ball, and if you whiff, point should be over.
then Salazar's just going to say, well, I never swung at it. It's like an umpire calling it out. See, there's that move up the side where he's so good about it. You got to be really careful. And it's really not, a lot of guys can move up the wire, but some guys just have that extra speed on it, and they do it at a quicker time. McNerney's not used to getting those balls hammered back at him because he's used to just hitting it in there and working a guy over, which he did right there. So awesome shot. And that's the only difference when they put Salazar over there, and Salazar was in the corner that time versus Regalado, is I just think Salazar can play over there, but his move up the sidewire is not the same as Regalado's. That's a great volley from Morgan. Touch, placement. McNerney just waiting for that ball. Oh, quick drive, quick blitz, smart lob. I always think it's very important to recognize, like, you know, when you're at a disadvantage in any time of exchange, right? Mm-hmm. And Morgan was backing up there and the ball's at his feet. And some guys would be like, all right, I'm hitting it right back at you. Let's go. But a wise man, you know, unless you're one of these guys like, and it's only the people like the Arise and the McNerneys who even would think about that, right? If you're a wise man, just pop it up, go back. You know, there's no point in playing from a disadvantage.
Only engage when they have what they perceived advantage.
Yeah.
Would you? I mean,
Yeah.
that,
Oh, that's such a good ball.
how quiet were the hands there?
Absolute perfection.
You know, and the average player, you know, that might be watching the live stream now or looking at it later, there's so much to take in. The fantastic shots, the great digs. But, I think one of the primary focuses, if I were watching and trying to kind of improve my play, is we had a little talk about fundamentals before, how fundamentally sound all these players are. Yes, they can do the great shots, but boy, they do the fundamentals so much, so well.
Well, still, yeah, no matter what they're doing here, the balance, I mean, what's the number one overhead these guys are hitting? Just pushing it straight and deep, right? Mm-hmm. Coming in, getting in position, making the volley. It's more than all the others. The other things are the exciting parts. The fundamentals is what it starts with. You're so right. Getting comfortable, playing really smooth. Morgan's still a coiled spring. He's probably, what do you think his drive rate is? It's 50% almost, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 50% of the balls he's hitting. And there is a good example of just the mindset. Got Salazar with that easy ball sitting up there, and he's not thinking, I'm going to end this point. He's actually just I'm just going to little cut back.
Yep.
No question he's not trying to win. A lot of guys would be like, all right, I'm going. Right, I'm going to end this thing. And I can't fault you for that either. It's just an indication of what goes on in their own head and how they're developing this game for themselves. It's about percentages and not missing and not about winning. And for most people, that's the better way to think about it. So good. You can't do better on drives. And he got him. Good for him. Good for Morgan.
Can I clap? Is that okay?
You certainly can. Clap worthy. And he just spotted those drives. And, the last one he got really greedy with was going right at Salazar. And I don't know if he was taking those 4 drives in a row personally. But it's 3-all now. Because that last one was clearly going right to Salazar. He hasn't come down off the excitement of the last 3 awesome drives that he hit. Quick shout out to Thomas Nolan, who's checking in and who is newly married. Shout out also, one of our top paddle players, great guy. Mark Powers again, newly married. Sven Burish. So a lot of the crew getting hitched up.
Man, oh man. Life just got better.
That's great. Got a lesson and a little marriage counseling from Mike Raleigh.
We can talk about communication, I mean, there's so many parallels here between the game of paddle tennis.
Got that right.
Patience. It's more about the small wins than the big wins. How much time you got? I mean, we can,
Actually, I'm sorry I brought it up.
Wow.
Oh, he's going. Oh, dig. This is a heck of a point. And it's just long and a good shout out from Regalado. I'd love to see the passion. 30 love, Regalado Salazar. Great point. Yeah, I think that those 3 drives before took a bit out of him. He's letting those get a little behind him. He's been money on most of them. This has been sort of like the one thing, great point, then a couple little spots here and there, right? And then a couple good fundamentals. Just a battle uphill, though. This is great points. But that's sort of, Morgan's role on the team, right?
Yeah.
McNerney's going to maybe hit a return, but mostly he's just going to not miss returns. Morgan's job is to hit returns and to apply some degree of pressure. Obviously he doesn't want to miss them like that, but that's his job.
Yeah.
And he's got a terrific one. He's missed 2 in this game, but hitter's got to play. He's going to lob that one. I think that's also wise. Whenever you don't have it, you don't have to hit it.
what do they say? Shooters shoot. You know, you got to know your job. But I think, you know, when you look at it too, that it really is about the decision making, and the execution is kind of secondary to that. You know, is it the right ball to drive? And whether or not you make it is kind of secondary to your decision making. McNerney with a nice
Great
drive off the
place.
screen.
And he took a chance. He was just guessing where he was going to hit it. And I don't mind that move because he
Right.
gets it, and he didn't reach for anything that wasn't that. That's the key to that play. When you make that move, you know your partner's covering it, and you don't. If it doesn't go there, you just let it go. Yeah, I mean, it was 40-15, but that's the type of stuff. Tricky. Again, I don't mind him doing it, but I'd like to see him do it with some intent to be moving forward. If he gets it up, because if he just makes it, but he doesn't follow it in,
Yeah,
what's the point?
Why do it?
Right? Because they're not going to miss a little half volley pooch like that. They're only going to miss it if there's a downhill pressure coming at him, you know? And I think he knows it too.
Yeah, you looked at his body language after he missed that. I think it was pretty plain that he was a little disappointed in his decision making. Because even if he executes it,
You're gaining very little.
yes,
Right.
yes.
Because that's not a ball that somebody's going to miss. It's just going to bounce. They're going to hit it over. Only the pressure behind it makes it worthwhile.
You know, and the great McClure had always said you got to answer the question of why. You know, why are you selecting and hitting that shot?
Right.
And if you don't have an answer, you probably shouldn't be hitting that shot.
You know? The great Matt McClure.
By the way,
That's a
he's the
little long.
M in the CSM Productions, for anybody paying attention at home.
I'm just still trying to figure out if the moniker the great Matt McClure is commonly used or, you know. Matt McClure himself saying it's rarely used, but I disagree. He seems great to me. Of course, one of our terrific producers here, and we do appreciate all the guys here at CSM Media. Did an amazing job here at the Chicago Charities. Al, Sean, Quiet Eli, you know, combo. Oh, good.
Great eye.
Great eye. And it's also more than a great eye. You kind of get to that point where you should almost realize you get to a certain point. You move back 1, 2, 3 steps. If it's any more than that, let it go no matter what. Even if it lands right on the line, just let it go.
Because you're better off playing that ball as a lob off the back screen instead of trying to hit an overhead.
And by the way, it will go out a lot of times. Screen drive, nice. Little push drive. That's a good one. But he's out of here. Great lob. And McNerney just overplays it. He's 6'4", so he can smash it in there. But that one's over the fence in this weather. It's not that cold out. And we're bleeding a couple of balls here. There's a moment here. Regalado Salazar. This is very reminiscent of that first set.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's back, and it's right in there. We're all in there. And then right in the middle of the set, like just a couple of mistakes. All right, there's one back. Missed return from Regalado. But that was a bad choice on the one before. Overhead there. So we got to, this is all, basically the match is going to come down to these two things, right?
I think so.
And this middle of the set. If they lose this set here, it's, you know, it's right in here that it's happening, right in this break. That's a good move, but he doesn't get to the spot in time. 2 break points saved. Not over by any means. Yeah, he's just going to block that one back. He's not going to take the chance of missing the return. Great help call there. Nice. You know, I'm not really bilingual, so it's not easy for me to go from like help to ayuda, you know, to other things, but it's amazing. These guys do such a good job calling every ball.
It's funny, depending on who calls it. We either get the booyah or, I don't know, ale, or I don't know what they're saying. But
Yeah.
vamos, andale.
Yeah, these guys, I think, are all recognizing how big this point is here. They're tightening it way up. He's hitting it.
Yeah.
Good for him. Bigging out in the big moment. Decides he's going to go for it.
Great lob, hits the line.
Beautiful. Oh, that's great hands. And there was, Morgan was thinking he was hitting an offensive shot, you know, but he was waiting for it. Good call. That time they call out the blitz, and you can see McNerney coming. All the difference in the world. Good. Great dig. Oh, he's got it, but he misses it. He flares
what a
it. He just
play.
has to block it down. And there it is, the break for Regalado and Salazar. And they're going to serve this, try to serve this out for a Chicago Charities Championship. All right. See what's in the tank still here for Morgan McNerney. Yeah, doesn't get that big pop on that return. That one hangs up a little
Yeah,
higher.
you notice too, Salazar made a little bit more of a press forward to take the ball while it was still high.
That's point number one. Oh, beautiful waterfall that time. He would have had to get way low or take it a little higher. Perfect choice. 30 love, 2 points from the championship. No, three. Just couldn't quite get it. All right, 3 points in the books. 3 match points here. He's got to wait for a second. Wow. Quick. McNerney, I might have waited to return. It looked like he turned around and the serve was on him. All right, here it is. He goes for it. Like it, playing his game. Great touch. See, a lot of people would take that lob down the line, and if McNerney would move up the side route, that would be a move for them, right?
Right.
He's more, the base is on, I'm going to hang here, and I could push it at his feet or lob it again, but he's not thinking about the offensive positioning. Oh, that's great hands. He's hitting it. Nice touch.
Great get from Morgan.
Yeah, he's struggling. He's in there. There it
Misses
is.
it long.
Oh, you got to love that reaction from Regalado and Salazar. You know, they're right here in the finals and take away their first Chicago Charities Championship. Any thoughts on the match?
Boy, I'd just say the execution, it came down to execution, and they executed better than McNerney and Morgan.
Yeah, especially in the middle of the sets. In
Yeah.
both sets, they started a little slower, and then they kind of get up, and then that's when a couple little mistakes just happened for McNerney and Morgan, and amazing job. And here we go, popping in there. I love that, coming up to the camera. Alvy Regalado, fist pump, and, and kudos, by the way, and we see Jason Love out there right now. He's about to give an interview with the winners. To everyone in this production, our production crew here, Jason Love, tournament director, all the people at Glenview Club, and, of course, the Charities, Mike, always for a great cause. And this year's cause.
Pause for Patrick.
Pause
Yep.
for Patrick, which is for, support animals for people in need. And they've raised a ton of money for that. And anybody who wants to go check it out, please give to Pause for Patrick and take a look at it. You can look him up on the website. And, just all around. Tremendous stuff. I mean, you live out here in Chicago. You're director at the Exmoor Club. You're a legendary director, over there, Mike.
Legend in my own mind. Thank you, though.
No. This is actually even from other people. Commonly here in Chicago known as Golden Tones. And Golden Pipes, Cal
Golden
says.
Pipes. That's
Golden
at the
Pipes.
CPTC.
Although we got a little rasp in there because we've been talking this
Fighting
whole
a little
weekend.
cold, too.
Fighting a little
Yep.
cold? That's good that I'm 2 feet from you the whole day.
We're like,
It's nice.
Jordan. It's fighting a little cold. Not the flu game,
But getting through it. Look at that. Like a champ.
That's
like
right.
a champ. So
I'd also like to thank Brad. That the blanket of volunteers.
Yeah.
And the clubs themselves that are providing courts, because without the volunteers, without the clubs that are out here providing courts, these tournaments don't happen.
right.
So, big shout out to Ann and Walter Fick. I know you've met Ann and Walter. They basically ran all of the volunteers here in Chicago for, since I don't know how long, but they are kind of transitioning out, and they still played a big role in kind of that transition. So, big shout out to them as well as all the volunteers that make these things happen.
Yeah. And, of course, as we mentioned before, the tour moves on. Tremendous win, our first Grand Prix in the books, and that makes it 2 for 2 for Regalado and Salazar. Earlier this year, they won Baltimore, I believe. No. Or was it Montclair? I think they won Montclair Open. So they're 2 for 2 on their season so far. And, they burst on the scene last year and just only getting better from here. So, certainly one of the teams to be front runners considered for nationals. And we saw great pairings this week, with McNerney and Morgan, and also with West and Frazier, our 2 and 3 seeds. So it's going to be an exciting paddle year. And like we said, the tour moves on to Cleveland and to Milton Point and Rye next year. And there's a great screen thing from our production crew. Thank you. They're Cal, Pause for Patrick, and it's just pauseforpatrick.org. And we're going to finish out here with an interview once everybody gets done celebrating. It's a little different. They're not like walking into the stands like in Wimbledon,
Right.
but and thanking their team, but they are making the rounds, and everybody's congratulating here. And we'll get them out here in a moment. And they do, by the way, we were talking about this a little off air. Back in our day, nobody really had matching sweatsuits or sponsors, different ball of wax.
Yeah.
And those guys look sharp, I have to say. Those are awesome.
All right, we'll turn it over to Jason Love, the tournament director. After quick photos of the champs.
We're going to need that picture, they say. All right, Jason, you're on.
All right, here we are with our 2024-25 APTA Chicago Charities champions. Guys, great job. Unbelievable match. I saw a bunch of statistics, something about going up all the way up until about your semifinal match. I think you lost like 4 or 5 games through the whole stretch of the tournament. Tell us a little bit how you felt this weekend and how you think the weekend went.
Well, first of all, thank you guys. Thank you, Jason. You guys organized a hell of a tournament. It was super, super fun. We want to thank also Kathleen. She hosted us this weekend, and it was great. And yeah, again, playing next to this guy is very easy, and we just try to stay very disciplined and try to do our thing. Again, nothing fancy, just trying to win. And yeah, again, it's a pleasure to play next to one of my brothers and one of my closest friends. So.
Yeah, the whole idea of the tournament was to be very disciplined from the early rounds. I'm trying to keep the focus level pretty high from the very beginning of the tournament, so then we're more prepared for these final matches that takes the most energy out of all the matches. So we tried from the very first round, and we were prepared for then.
One of the things that I noticed was you guys could play kind of any style, fast, slow, transition game, attacking. What do you guys like to play? And I don't want to give your secrets away, but what do you, if you had to pick right now, what did you feel? What were you liking?
I think we like the fast one a little bit more. Sometimes playing slow, it takes a lot of mental strength, and sometimes we finish it's exhausting. But I think we'd rather play a little faster with this guy driving all over the place.
So coming from tennis, we like to play fast, but there's certain matches that we're going to have to be a little bit more patient and wait for the opportunity. Like today, McNerney has a really good overhead, so we had to be very patient and wait for the right ball. and sometimes people have to play slow, and sometimes we'll have to play fast. So we'll adjust depending who we're playing against.
Well, you guys were fantastic. What did you learn from this weekend to carry you forward through the rest of the season? We're kind of the first Grand Prix, so what are you taking away from this?
Again, a lot of discipline. We try to stay very disciplined out there, try to make a lot of balls, and we try to stay focused the whole match. Sometimes we have some up and downs, but we try to stick together as a team. I think we do a great job on that. We have a great chemistry on and off the court, so sticking together is one of the most important things. I think we do a great job on that, so we'll keep on building.
Yeah, like Alvi said, one of our main strengths is to be very disciplined on every point. We can miss some points and some important shots, but the whole idea behind it is to stay very disciplined, and I think we have a really good chemistry. We're best friends on and off the court, and I feel like I know what he's going to be doing. He knows what I'm going to be doing, so we always try to stay one step ahead. So it's pretty special to have that connection on the court.
I don't think I've ever seen a team hug as much in between points or changeovers as you guys. So that's clearly you guys work well together and like playing together. Well, congratulations again. Good luck the rest of the season, and thank you so much for coming out here to Chicago.
We'll give a big shout out to Orange Lawn. I know they're supporting back home. They always support me a lot, and we want to give a big shout out as well to the Bass Foundation. What they do is very special, and it's very fulfilling what they do. So shout out to them.
Also, big thanks to Noah and Sam from the Xenon team. We're very thankful to be part of the family, and obviously everybody at the stand which watching, very proud to represent the Witch.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats again.
Thank you.
All right, well, there you hear it from our champions, and clearly the buzzword is discipline, and they exemplify that, Mike.
They sure did. Yeah, it was a great tournament, great match. Again, just happy to be here and watch that, have a front row seat for that excellence.
Yeah, it really does carry them through the discipline that they go to, and they can play all styles. They marry the old with the new, and 2 wins in a row for those guys, so certainly a force to be reckoned with. And the tour moves on. Cal, the crew, Mark, the great Mark, and Sean, you guys did awesome work. They're already busy out here breaking it down before any more rain comes. And it was great and pleasure calling that with you, Mike. The tour moves on to Milton Point and Cleveland next week. So we'll see you guys then. That's a wrap here.
That's a wrap.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.